Gianluigi Buffon, 3 finals, 0 trophies. Old Trafford, 2003, Champions League final. Buffon produces one of the greatest saves in final history, a point-blank stop from Inzaghi's diving header. The match ends goalless. Penalties. Buffon saves 2. His teammates miss 3. Trophy gone. Berlin, 2015, Champions League final. Buffon faces the deadliest attacking trio in history: Messi, Suarez, Neymar. Rakitic scores inside 4 minutes. Juventus equalise. Then Suarez pounces on a Buffon parry. Neymar adds a third. 3-1. Glory denied. Cardiff, 2017, Champions League final. Juventus dominate the first half. Ronaldo scores. Mario Mandzukic equalise. Ronaldo scores again. Buffon can only watch helplessly. Real Madrid 4, Juventus 1. 3 finals, 3 losses. You're starting to see the pattern. But the curse found new ways to hurt him. The following season, Juventus drew Real Madrid in the quarter-finals. First leg, 3-0 defeat at home. Impossible deficit. Then came the second leg in Madrid. Juventus scored 3 times. Buffon hadn't conceded. With seconds remaining, they were approaching extra time. Then the 93rd minute happened. A penalty awarded. Buffon lost his composure, confronted the referee, received a red card. He watched from the tunnel as Ronaldo converted the spot kick. Juventus eliminated 4-3 on aggregate. The curse had mutated. At 40 years old, Buffon made one last attempt. He joined PSG, a club spending hundreds of millions chasing European glory. Surely the trophy would come now. PSG crashed out in the round of 16 to Manchester United. Over 2 decades chasing the same prize. The greatest goalkeeper of his generation, making saves that deserved silverware, collecting nothing but runner-up medals. Some players are cursed by failure. Buffon was cursed by proximity, close enough to touch it, again and again and again. Zinedine Zidane, the final act. World Cup winner, European Championship winner, 3 Champions League titles. The volley against Bayer Leverkusen that still defines what a final goal should look like. When people list the greatest midfielders in history, Zidane sits among Pelé and Maradona without argument. But legacy depends on which moments survive. Berlin, July 9th, 2006, World Cup final. Zidane's last match as a professional footballer. France versus Italy. He'd carried his nation through the tournament with performances that defied his 34-year-old body. His Panenka penalty, chipped down the middle, kissing the underside of the crossbar before dropping in, gave France the lead after 7 minutes. Another coronation seemed inevitable. Then the 110th minute. Marco Materazzi said something. The exact words have been disputed for years, though Materazzi later confirmed he made a crude comment about Zidane's sister. Whatever was said, Zidane turned, walked towards the Italian, lowered his head, and drove it into Materazzi's chest. Red card. Walking past the trophy without looking at it, the final image of the greatest French footballer ever, leaving the pitch in disgrace while his teammates fought on without him. France lost on penalties. David Trezeguet hit the crossbar. Italy lifted the World Cup. Zidane watched from somewhere inside the stadium, stripped of his captain's armband, unable to influence the outcome. The headbutt didn't erase his achievements. The goals still exist on YouTube. The trophies still sit in cabinets. But human memory works on shortcuts. When people think of Zidane, they see the headbutt first. The brilliance requires conscious effort to recall. Years later, he admitted he wasn't proud of what happened. But pride doesn't rewrite history. At the time, the headbutt blurred every achievement that came before it. Now, it's part of the myth. The genius who played on instinct, even when instinct betrayed him. It should have been his shame. Instead, it became his signature. Diego Maradona, the god who burned. Mexico, 1986. The hand of God against England. divine intervention, or brazen cheating, depending on which side of the Falklands you were born. 4 minutes later, the goal of the century. 60 yards of dribbling through an entire defence. 5 Englishmen beaten. The goalkeeper humiliated. One man carrying Argentina past their historical enemy with fury and genius and something close to vengeance. The final against West Germany was simply the conclusion of a one-man show. Then came the collection. The cocaine arrived in Barcelona, metastasized in Naples. The 15-month ban in 1991 after testing positive. The ballooning weight. The chaos that followed him like weather. But 1994 was supposed to be redemption. Maradona had shed 30 pounds through crash diets and supplements. He looked sharp. Against Greece in the opener, he scored a stunning goal and sprinted towards the camera, screaming, veins bulging in his neck, eyes wild and distorted, the image of a man possessed. Argentina won 4-0. Against Nigeria, he set up both goals in a 2-1 victory. The old magic seemed real again. After the final whistle, a nurse in white walked onto the pitch, took Maradona's hand and led him away for a drug test. He smiled and waved to the crowd. 4 days later, the result arrived. Positive for ephedrine. Expelled from the tournament. His last words at the press conference: "They have retired me from soccer. My soul is broken." Argentina collapsed without him. Lost to Bulgaria, then Romania. Gone in the round of 16. Maradona flew home and never played for his country again. 91 caps, 17 years, ended by a nurse holding his hand. He managed Argentina at the 2010 World Cup and watched Germany humiliate his team 4-0 in the quarter-finals. The father of Argentine football, unable to guide his children past the last 8. When he died in November 2020, aged 60, the tribute spoke of the magic. But anyone paying attention knew the fuller story. Genius without limits. Life without mercy. Lionel Messi, the curse that broke. Copa America 2007, final against Brazil. Argentina lose 3-0. Messi is 20 years old. Growing pains, everyone says. The trophies will come. World Cup 2014, final against Germany. Extra time. Mario Götze scores in the 113th minute. Argentina lose 1-0. Messi wins the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player. The trophy goes to Munich. Copa America 2015, final against Chile. Penalties. Messi scores his. Higuain misses. Eva Banega's penalty is saved. Chile win 4-1 from the spot. The trophy stays in Santiago. Copa America 2016, final against Chile. Again. Messi scores 5 goals throughout the tournament, dismantles defenses, carries Argentina to yet another final, then blazes his penalty over the crossbar in the shootout. Chile win again. Messi walks off the pitch and announces his retirement from international football. 4 finals, 4 losses. The best player alive losing repeatedly while the world asked why he couldn't do for Argentina what he did for Barcelona every single week. The criticism cut deep. In Argentina, they compared him to Maradona, unfavorably. Maradona wore his heart like a weapon. Messi was cold, they said. European, not truly Argentine. He won 6 Ballon d'Or awards. None of them silenced the critics who wanted suffering with their success. The retirement lasted 2 months. He came back. Of course he came back. Russia 2018 ended in the round of 16. Copa America 2019 brought another semi-final exit. The pattern seemed permanent. Then Qatar arrived. December 2022. Argentina versus France in a final that had no business being that dramatic. Messi scored twice. Mbappe scored a hat-trick. Extra time. Penalties. Messi converted his without flinching. When Gonzalo Montiel struck the winner, Messi finally had what 15 years of near misses had denied him. The celebration told the whole story. Joy and relief and exhaustion and vindication, all tangled together on his face. 4 finals lost, then 4 trophies won. Copa America 2021, Finalissima 2022, World Cup 2022, Copa America 2024. The curse didn't vanish in Qatar, it was settled. Every loss had been a deposit on that final night. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, the trophy he escaped. Zlatan conquered everything domestic football could offer. Serie A with 3 different clubs, League 1 4 times running, La Liga, Eredivisie. He won leagues in 4 countries, scored impossible goals on 5 continents, made defenders look foolish for 2 decades. The Champions League? Never touched it. The cruel part is watching what happened after he left. Summer 2009. Zlatan forces a move from Inter Milan to Barcelona, chasing the Champions League trophy Inter had never won during his 3 seasons there. The swap deal sends Samuel Eto'o to Milan. That very season, the one immediately after Zlatan departed, Inter win the treble. Serie A, Coppa Italia, Champions League. Diego Milito scores both goals in the final against Bayern Munich. The trophy Zlatan spent 3 years chasing at Inter arrived the moment he walked out the door. Barcelona should have been different. The reigning European champions. Messi, Xavi, Iniesta. Pep Guardiola's system. Zlatan scored 22 goals but clashed with the coach, felt marginalized, demanded out. He left for AC Milan in summer 2010. That season, again, the one immediately after his departure, Barcelona won the Champions League. They beat Manchester United at Wembley using the exact passing movements Zlatan had struggled to fit into. 2 consecutive summers, 2 departures, 2 Champions League trophies for his former clubs. The pattern continued. AC Milan, after his first stint there, won it in 2007. Juventus reached 2 finals in the years around his time. PSG reached their first final 4 years after he left. The trophy seemed to follow him around Europe, arriving at every address the moment he changed it. At 41, retired, Zlatan acknowledged it. Asked about career regrets, he mentioned only one trophy. The one that kept slipping through his fingers. The one that arrived at his former clubs like a recurring taunt. He won everything football could offer, except the one thing football remembers. Ronaldinho, the hunger that faded. November 2005, Santiago Bernabeu, El Clasico. Ronaldinho scored twice, both solo goals, both unstoppable. The second one started near the halfway line and ended with Real Madrid's defense scattered across the pitch like debris. When he was substituted, something extraordinary happened. The Bernabeu crowd rose to their feet and applauded. Real Madrid fans giving a standing ovation to a Barcelona player while he was destroying their team. Only Diego Maradona had received that honor before, 22 years earlier. Ronaldinho had reached the summit. World Cup winner at 22, Champions League winner at 26, back-to-back FIFA World Player of the Year, Ballon d'Or. By his mid-20s, Ronaldinho had accumulated what most legends spend entire careers chasing. Then the 2006 World Cup happened. Brazil arrived as overwhelming favourites. They left in the quarter-finals, beaten by France. On the day the squad returned home, vandals destroyed a fiberglass statue of Ronaldinho that had been erected in his honour. That same day, Ronaldinho and Adriano threw a party in Barcelona that lasted until morning. The symbolism was obvious. The hunger had gone. December 2006. Sid Lowe, who had chronicled Ronaldinho's rise, wrote that he now looked slow, unhappy, and overweight. Barcelona started using gastroenteritis as an excuse to cover his training absences. The partying had become a pattern: nightclubs until dawn, missed sessions, declining performances. The precise moment the crown passed happened in March 2007. A 3-3 Clásico at Camp Nou. Messi scored a hat-trick. Ronaldinho watched from the periphery. The team that had revolved around him was now reorganizing around someone younger, hungrier, more disciplined. By October 2007, after partying in a Rio nightclub following a Brazil friendly, Ronaldinho reportedly left at 11 a.m. the next morning, in the trunk of a car to avoid photographers. Frank Rijkaard stopped selecting him. Guardiola arrived and made clearing him out a priority. The player who had revitalized Barcelona was now considered a bad influence on its future. Ronaldinho didn't collapse. He simply stopped climbing. When you've had Real Madrid fans on their feet applauding you as a Barcelona player at 25, everything afterward is a managed decline.
Cristiano Ronaldo, the World Cup knockout ghost. Over 950 career goals, 5 Champions League titles, 5 Ballon d'Ors, the greatest goalscorer in football history. When Real Madrid trailed Wolfsburg 2-0 in the Champions League quarter-finals, Ronaldo scored a hat-trick in 17 minutes. Bayern Munich in extra time, hat-trick. Atletico Madrid in the semi-finals, hat-trick. Then at Juventus, down 2-0 to the same Atletico, he dragged them through with another hat-trick. 4 knockout hat-tricks. A man who grows stronger as elimination approaches. This is who Cristiano Ronaldo is. The clutch player, the closer. Then why has he never scored in a World Cup knockout match? 5 tournaments, 8 knockout games, 570 minutes, 27 shots, 0 goals, 143 international goals, more than any man in history, and not one when World Cup elimination arrived. Not against the Netherlands in 2006, not against Spain in 2010, not against Uruguay in 2018, not against Morocco in 2022. The group stages? A hat-trick against Spain in 2018. That free kick in the 88th minute, curling past De Gea. 8 World Cup goals total, all before the knockouts. Then silence. Germany 2006. Portugal reached the semi-finals. 4 knockout matches, 0 Ronaldo goals. South Africa 2010. Spain in the round of 16. 1 shot on target, eliminated. Russia 2018. 4 goals in 2 group games. Then Uruguay. Cavani scored twice, Ronaldo scored nothing. Eliminated. Qatar 22. 37 years old. Scored against Ghana, the first man to score in 5 different World Cups. Then the unthinkable. Against Switzerland, Ronaldo was benched. His replacement, Gonçalo Ramos, scored a hat-trick. Portugal won 6-1 without their captain on the pitch. He came off the bench against Morocco, couldn't change the result, lost 1-0, walked off in tears. He'll be 41 when the 2026 World Cup begins. One final chance to score the knockout goal that has eluded him for 2 decades. Everywhere else, Cristiano Ronaldo is the most clutch player of his generation. At the World Cup, when knockout football arrives, he becomes someone else entirely. Some curses are about losing finals. Ronaldo's curse is simpler. He's never gotten close enough to lose one. Neymar, crushed by the crown. They put the crown on his head before he could grow into it. At 17, Neymar was already Brazil's next Pelé. Not a comparison, an expectation. Every dribble measured against 1970. Every goal weighed against 3 World Cups he'd never seen. A teenager asked to carry the memory of a nation that hadn't truly celebrated since 2002. Barcelona offered escape. Instead, it delivered a new shadow. Messi's shadow. At Camp Nou, Neymar was brilliant. But brilliance there meant being the second option. The treble in 2015 carried Messi's fingerprints. Neymar contributed, devastated defenses, scored crucial goals. But the hierarchy never shifted. The €222 million move to Paris Saint-Germain was supposed to change everything. Freedom from comparison. A team built around his talent. His name above everyone else's on the team sheet. The expectations multiplied instead. Every World Cup became Neymar versus history. Russia 2018, eliminated in the quarter-finals against Belgium, remembered more for theatrics than dribbling. Qatar 2022, injured in the group stage, returned for the knockouts, scored a beautiful goal against Croatia, then watched his teammates collapse in the penalty shootout. 2 chances at redemption. 2 failures that weren't entirely his fault, but attached themselves to him anyway. The injuries became their own narrative. A broken vertebra in 2014 that ended his first World Cup. A metatarsal fracture that nearly cost him Russia. An ACL rupture in 2023 that kept him out for over a year. Every setback treated as evidence of fragility rather than bad luck. He's 33 now, back at Santos, his boyhood club. He scored 8 goals in the league this season, including 4 in the final 3 matches to single-handedly save them from relegation. Then went straight into knee surgery. His contract expires in days. Carlo Ancelotti still hasn't called him up for Brazil. The 2026 World Cup is 6 months away. It might be his last chance to deliver what Brazil has demanded since he was a teenager, if he even makes the squad. No Brazilian player has carried this weight for this long. Pelé had Garrincha, Ronaldo had Rivaldo, Neymar has pressure, injuries and comparisons to men who played in different decades. Maybe he breaks the curse in North America next summer. Maybe he scores in the final like he promised. Or maybe the curse wins. Maybe some players aren't destroyed by failing, but by being told they've already failed, before they ever had the chance. Neymar didn't fall short of becoming a GOAT. He was crushed by being told he already was one.
Roberto Baggio, one haunting kick. USA 1994, World Cup. Italy versus Nigeria, round of 16. Italy trailing 1-0 with 2 minutes left. Baggio equalizes. Extra time. Baggio wins a penalty and converts it himself. Italy survive. Spain, quarter-final. Deadlocked at 1-1 with 3 minutes remaining. Baggio rounds the goalkeeper from an impossible angle. Squeezes the ball home. Italy advance. Bulgaria, semi-final. Baggio scores after 20 minutes. Scores again after 25. Italy reach the World Cup final. One man dragging an entire nation to Pasadena on sheer force of will. 5 goals in 4 knockout matches. The reigning FIFA World Player of the Year, operating at a level nobody else could reach. Without Baggio, Italy would have been eliminated twice over. With him, they stood 90 minutes from lifting the trophy. Then came the final against Brazil. Scoreless after 120 minutes. Penalties. Franco Baresi missed first. Marcio Santos for Brazil saved. Penalties traded back and forth. Massaro stepped up for Italy. Saved. Dunga converted for Brazil. 3-2. Baggio needed to score to keep Italy alive. He'd taken penalties throughout the tournament with the same technique. Long run-up. Slow the stride. Wrap the foot around the ball. Always low, always controlled. This one left his boot and kept rising. Over the crossbar, into the Pasadena sky. The photograph became football's most reproduced image. Baggio standing alone, head bowed, hands on hips. Brazil celebrating behind him. A man watching his legacy rewrite itself in real time. He played another decade. Serie A titles with Juventus and Milan. A cult hero status at Bologna and Brescia.
But every interview eventually arrived at the same destination. That penalty, that moment, that miss. It affected me for years, he said later. I still dream about it. Baggio scored 318 career goals, but that one miss still bugs him. The bodies that broke. Some curses aren't mental, they're physical. The GOATs whose bodies couldn't survive their own brilliance. Ronaldo Nazario, the most terrifying striker at full speed. Watch footage from 1996 and you're watching a different sport. Acceleration that made defenders grab at air, power that snapped through goalkeepers' hands. Then his right knee buckled. Surgery, recovery, return. 6 minutes into his comeback, the same knee buckled again. Another surgery. The explosiveness never came back. He won 2 World Cups anyway, 3 FIFA World Player Awards. Imagine what a healthy version of him would have collected. Marco van Basten, Ballon d'Or winner at 23. The volley against the Soviet Union at Euro '88 remains the greatest goal ever scored in a final. By 28, his ankles had failed him. Retired at 30. An all-time career cut off mid-sentence. Kaká, the last midfielder to win the Ballon d'Or before Messi and Ronaldo's decade of dominance. Glided past opponents like they were standing still. Then came the knee surgery that was supposed to help. The mechanics changed. Same name on the shirt, different engine underneath. Michael Owen, Ballon d'Or winner at 22, the second youngest ever, behind only Ronaldo. A decade of hamstring tears, stealing 1 yard of pace at a time. By 30, defenders weren't scared of him anymore. By 33, he was finished. Football stardom demands everything. Sometimes that includes the body that got you there in the first place. The summit doesn't promise safety. It promises exposure to the wind, to the fall, to the world watching you slip. Which curse hit you hardest? Drop it in the comments and make sure to subscribe because the next chapter of Heartbreak is already being written.